Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MRL Network as we bring you the Thursday Thriller Truck Series. I am Mean
Kevin, I'm doing
Gene
a
Money, and I
qualifying
am
practice.
proud to be in the booth here today with Buddy Sully standing next to me. We've got Zach Panzarella giving us all the action from the pits, and we've got Joe Volpus as our producer. Four Cracker Jack announcers to bring you season 5 of the Thursday Thriller Truck Series. We are at Talladega Super Speedway for week number 7 of our 12-week regular season. It will all boil down to a round of 12 in a playoff situation. But tonight, we are at Talladega Super Speedway. Buddy, how do you feel? You're in the hot seat up here tonight, pal.
Oh, I like Talladega. It's a super wide track. You can fit four lanes of traffic around the right people. So definitely should be an exciting race, hopefully.
Oh, the right people. I like how he put that. There's some folks out there, and you viewers at home, you know the ones we're talking about. 33-degree banking here is going to create some amazing top speeds for these guys. Drafting will make all of the difference. 70 laps, we will have a stage points awarded at stage 35. Zach Panzarella is going to be giving us all the juicy tidbits down in the pits, especially during cautions. What do you think, Zach? 10 times. Will we be having 10 or more of those cautions for updates from you?
We'll get close, Mean Gene. I think you'll hear from me more than you're expecting or want to. It's Talladega, and this is going to be one of the biggest fields, if not the biggest field we've ever seen in the history of this Thursday Night Truck Series. And what better time to start broadcasting this incredible league than right now with this giant field at this awesome, iconic racetrack. So I'm extremely excited to be here. I gush over this track all the time on our other leagues that we get to cover, about this league and all the other leagues that we get to cover, me and Gene. So to be here for the first broadcast with you, Buddy, and Joe is a huge privilege, and I'm excited to check in with you guys throughout this race because I got a feeling that we're going to have some action out here.
I love it. That's right, Zach. It's always a pleasure to broadcast with you. I can never hear from you too much. Hopefully the drivers on the track will agree. 33 drivers. This is the largest MRL truck field ever put out in a race, so we're excited to see the action. Let's think about what happened last week. They were at North Wilkesboro, and we saw Jonathan Quesabir took his first win of the year. Yes, it is a win-and-you're-in situation. 6 winners so far this season. Joe, if you go ahead and pull up our points standings here after North Wilkesboro, you'll be able to see people that have punched their way in. Right now, Zach Panzarella, that's right, our own Zach, he is your points leader. Jonathan Quesabir, behind the power of that win, has punched his ticket in. Dalton Geyer, he has punched his way in. He won at New Hampshire. David Owens, he's a winner from Atlanta. Joe Volpus won at Iowa. Matt Novella yet to win, but running 6th. Kyle Lynott, he is looking for his first win. Zach Engel, David Brenner, Matt Fritz, Steve Fugit, and Sam Milliken. So those are our top 12. Other people trying to fight their way in. Of course, you can see Benish and Lewis as well. So the top 15 right there fighting for those 12 spots. But again, Benish, Volpus, Geyer, Owens, and Quesabir have all gotten that Willy Wonka magic ticket to the playoffs. Joey Stiers, he's kind of on the edge, don't you think, buddy? He needs to make every race to qualify. What about it? You know Joey. You think he's going to put the knuckles to the grindstone and make the races for the rest of the year to qualify?
I think I've raced with Joey off and on for quite a while now, and whenever it comes down to it, whenever he has to pull something off, he is one that is able to do it. He's fantastic under pressure. Sometimes that pressure, I think, and create some motivation to come back and try to school everyone and show everyone what he's about.
I love it. So you're saying we got a driver with a chip on his shoulder, and he loves to compete. Exactly the kind of driver we want here. Clean driving, but very aggressive. Back to North Wilkesboro, Sabir did get his first win. Second place, Sam Milliken. Third, Zach Angold. Other drivers of note, Pat Cowgill led the most laps, was the fastest, but being new to MRL's Thursday Night Truck Series, he messed up a little on his fuel, was involved in a late race incident and knocked himself out. Joe Volpes took the pole, but unfortunately as well did not make his way onto the podium. Qualifying underway here at Talladega, as you can see some of the trucks making their way around to see exactly who will come at the front. Drafting is such an important situation here. Last year, though, really interesting. We saw Jonathan Sabir take the win. Great super speedway driver. The guy only led one lap. I guess that's true, buddy. Just lead the right lap and you're the man, right?
Absolutely. That's all you have to do. It doesn't matter. It's cool to brag about how many laps you won, or how many laps you've led, but it really comes down to that last one. All you got to do is lead the last lap, and that's all that counts.
Well, as a Sunday morning next-gen driver myself, I can count all of the laps I've led on mine because that total would be 0. Buddy Sully is the Season 3 champion from our Monday Night Mayhem series here in MRL, so led more laps than Kentucky Fried Chicken has sold breasts. So he not as impressed, but you at home know it's hard to win here in the MRL series. Last season, Joe Volpes took second place at Talladega, and Kyle Lynott, he finished. 25 drivers raced last year at Talladega. 18 finished on the lead lap. This year, though, 33 drivers lining up to race. So expecting to see some exciting action. Hey, Zach, down in the pits, some of these guys qualifying, some of them choosing not to. What's the general atmosphere? Do you see teammates being formed, or is there a lot of secrecy and cliques going on?
I think just like we saw Monday at Daytona, we will see those alliances between teams, so you won't be limited to, just 4 people. We could see up to 8, maybe even 10 working together. But to answer your question about qualifying and the vibe of the field, I think it's just the size of this field, me and Gene. I've been here for years now, and I see a lot of names I've never seen before, whether they be from other days over here at MRL or maybe heard about this broadcast and decided to give it a shot here today. But this is unfamiliar territory for a lot of these guys. So I'm seeing a little bit more non-qualifying than I expected, to be entirely honest. But nonetheless, still going to be quite a few guys who decide to give it a shot. And I think a lot of that is a lot of these formations that you're wanting to see and giving yourself the best chance of being near your team. I know we're going to see teams like Team DDI is going to line up here. You can already tell all up in the top lane, and I think about 2, 4, 6. That's the type of situation you want here, Mean Gene. Control it early. As we'll be talking about that stage here as well. We got a stage break in this league. So unlike other leagues we cover that pay out stage points, we have a stage break here, and there is not enough fuel to make it to that stage break. So it's kind of a tale of 2 races here in the MRL on Thursdays.
Ooh, that is exciting. I'm really hoping we could see some green flag pit stops. That's really what can separate a good driver from another driver with less experience. It's fun to come to a practice session and just ride wide out, but you can really tell the guys who are working on the strategy by seeing just how quickly they can find their mark on the pits. And then it all changes if you happen to slide and have a slick spot, a flat spot on those tires. So this is a drafting track. We're looking forward to seeing those large groups, but I'm curious, buddy, how many trucks does it take to make a pack that cannot lose position out there? With the next-gen cars, we saw packs of 4 and 5 at Talladega manage to keep pace, not fall too far behind. What about here with the trucks at Talladega? How many trucks does it take to stay on pace?
I think you would want at least 4 trucks Three trucks would be kind of risking it. The big difference between the next gens and the trucks is, I think the draft is a little bit stronger in the truck, so it's a lot harder to lose the draft than in the next gen. In the next gen, if you get the right people stacked up together, 3 cars can do perfectly fine, especially in the next gen, since you can push the pusher. In the trucks, you really don't want to push the pusher because that can turn into a nightmare really, really fast if someone bumps someone off center.
Especially in a turn, I would imagine. You really got to maybe do a little bit of drag braking to make sure you don't make any contact. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and something about the trucks. If you hit the truck in front of you with enough momentum, you can lift up the back tires just a little bit to snap them loose in the corners. The next gens, you can definitely, it's a little bit easier to push in the corner.
So
you don't have to worry about lifting that back end up as far.
Yeah, there is a lot more back end to work with on these trucks. Something that we're going to keep an eye on is just how far these people are willing to push. Some contact has to be made, obviously, but you don't want to give them a little bit too much. This is the inaugural broadcast of our Thursday Thriller Truck Series for Season 5. Very excited to bring that to you. Of course, you at home, very familiar with watching our Monday Night Mayhem, so we're super excited here at MRL to be bringing this to you, an additional bonus for you to see, and we are looking forward to more broadcasts on Thursday night. Of course, these broadcasts brought to you by many people.
All right, guys, looks like there's a few more left to qualify. Maybe some of you are waiting, but I just wanted to go over a couple things we have tonight. I believe by far our largest field in our 5 seasons of the Thursday Thriller Series.
Also, the production
33 here gridded up. So really excited for that.
Led
so a couple things. So for tonight's race specifically, for Talladega, we're going to have our stage break at the end of lap 35. We do throw a caution for this. I'm going to go over a couple extra rules I normally don't, just because I know there's some people here who have raced in a while or maybe never raced here. So we will have a stage break at the end of lap 35. We'll throw a caution again after the top 10 cross the start-finish line to begin lap 36. I will close the pit coming to 2 to go. So keep that in mind if you are doing any pitting towards the end of the stage, that pits will close coming down to 2 to go. Specifics for Talladega, as you probably know, the yellow line rule is in effect, so you cannot advance your position by going under the yellow line. If you do by accident, you make sure to give that position back. And if you don't give that position back, you will be either given a black flag if we are able to see it in race, or it will be a post-race penalty when we go back to look at clips. Just some normal kind of week-to-week things. We are going to have 4 total tire sets, which means you have up to 3 changes of tires during the race. We do have 1 fast repair. And in terms, I already talked about stage breaks. For black flag, black flags are going to be served in all situations except if you are wrecked on the pit road, if you use pit road to avoid an accident, or passing under yellow due to crash damage as you're entering pit lane. So if any of those 3 situations happen, all that I ask is that you go on the iRacing chat, explicitly state the reason why you're asking for a black flag clear, and one of the admins here will take a listen and take care of that situation.
Yes, I was about to say,
there's a couple of trucks the last thing I mentioned real quick is this is week 1 of the truck team tournament. If you're not sure what that is, that's fine. It's just an in-season tournament that we're doing within these last 6 races of the regular season.
Yeah, it's going to be a new network.
The teams are posted on the driver chat page if you want to see what they look like.
Or month, I should really say. But
finishers
going to be all familiar faces like
will
me,
accrue points for the team, and again, after 6 races, the team that earns the most points will have the opportunity to choose the final championship race of this season.
But with that, what we did last week,
if there's any questions, let me know.
Otherwise, was a live stream of the actual NASCAR races.
And good luck,
we did
everyone.
it at Daytona 500, and nearly 1,000 of you guys joined us. So that blew our minds, if we're being honest. And then obviously we're doing it again this week, so we'll be there at Atlanta. Well, you'll be actually there at Atlanta, me and Gene popping in every now and then in the stands, but we'll be watching from our homes. making a fool of ourselves. But I see our qualifying results, so I will shut up, and congrats to Scotty Estep on the pole.
Scotty Estep taking the pole. One other thing about the Sunday broadcast that will be on the Vortex Racing Network, there is a visual of what's going on the track as well. So you're not just going to watch us chatting about it. You can actually see green flags, cautions, and the positions of the drivers. Joe, if you bring that up a little bit for me, please. You're going to see here what we got right now. Getting the pole, Scotty Estep. Second place up there with him, Patrick Cowgill, looking to redeem himself from last week. Wadaback Racing, I love it. David Owens, Alex Hillman, Dalton Geyer, Jonathan Quesabir, Zach Angle, Graham McGivern, Joe Amato, AJ and that is your top 10. Take over for me there, buddy.
And P11, you got David Brenner, P12, Bryson Dotson, P13, Kevin Sawyer. P14, Steve Lewis. P15, Zach Panzarella. P16, Steve Fugett. 17, Dave Kirkpatrick. 18th, Joseph Pulpus. P19, Trevor Woodward. P20, Kyle Lynott. 21, Chris Smith. P22, Kevin Brower. P23, Gary Moore Jr. or
Mr. to you.
Mr. Gary Moore.
One other thing that I forgot to mention is
P24,
the initial start of the race, we go on the iRacing Flagman. Any subsequent restart is the restart zone that we go on, and the leader gets to choose lane, inside or outside.
28.
Typically, I just ask to throw that over chat so that people will know which lane the leader is in.
29th, Christopher Knott. 30th, Chris Smorrell.
Also, remember, if you're involved in a wreck, please ask for an EOL if you need it.
And rounding out the field in P33, Stephen Nill.
Well, that is a lot of P's out there. Hopefully they'll be able to keep it under control. Hey, Zach, I see 9 guys choosing not to qualify. You think that's going to hurt them in the long run or just a strategy move? Zach thinks it's going to hurt him, and he's just being nice. What do you think, buddy?
I think so. I like that strategy. I very rarely choose to qualify at super speedways. I'm a start in the back type of guy and kind of strategically make my way to the front.
Look at you. I like to start right in the middle of the field and then get caught up in a crash early on.
That's where all the fireworks happen.
Yeah. Scotty Estep is going to be your control truck. He's on the inside in that 48 Lowe's paint job. I guess that's a shout out to old school Jimmy Johnson.
You wish you had a lap in school
getting up to speed. Patrick Cowgill on the outside running that 900 number, designating he is still a rookie. David Owens going to be on that inside right behind Estep and Hillman on the outside of lane 2. So really good pushers for both these lanes. Going to be exciting to see which one of these guys up front, the rookie Cowgill or Scotty Estep, will be able to hold on. You know, this is the second time I've seen Estep take a pole here in the last few weeks. So this guy has really been starting well. Let's see if he can finish a race as good as he starts it off. A lot easier to start up front than up front. Here we go. The green flag has dropped, and we are live at Talladega as Scotty Estep is going to lead him around the D-shape into turn number 1. Great jump there. He's got Owens right on his back so fast that Owens pulls side by side with Cowgill. Owens Hillman trying to make that outside work. He's got Dalton Geyer pushing him, and then Jonathan Quesabir on the number 8. On the inside as well. Quesabir, great super speedway driver. Look at him on that backstretch, buddy.
They're side by side. One thing that I'm noticing right fast is that outside lane has more trucks closer together than the inside lane does. So I'm expecting the outside lane to have more momentum on the exit of turn 4.
Well, that's what we're looking to see is these guys start to team up, but not touch each other too closely. Coming into turn number 4, we can see the speed, and it's definitely going to be Estep's lap. Congratulations, Scotty Estep, leading that
Owens moves up to the top.
Look at him. He wants it. He gets right in front of that outside lane. Maybe he saw what you saw, buddy, because now it is David Owens in control on that outside. He's got Cowgill and Geyer pushing as hard as he can. That outside lane forming up quite nicely. Remember, we got 33 trucks here today. Ooh, a lot of action. A little bit further back in the pack. They managed to keep it straight. Side-by-side racing here at Talladega as we're bringing it around here on lap 2.
The one thing that I'm liking about what I'm seeing for being this early in the race, I mean, we are on lap 2, but there's not a lot of people willing to send it 3 wide yet. So there's a lot of patience at play right now, I think.
Well, I'm not a doctor, so I don't have any patience. I am ready to see some wide open activity. Bad decisions is how I like to live my life, and it definitely makes it more exciting. Right now, it looks like, though, side racing, neither lane can really get an advantage. That inside lane, it looks like it's a little bit low. We're down below the apron.
That looks like someone's dropping back.
Yeah, you can't just come back up. I know when I'm on the apron, I ain't letting nobody back in. But here we go. There's a little bit of kindness out there. There's a warm-hearted, generous person. Lets that truck back into the line, and we're going to keep it green as we are booking it around lap 3. What kind of speeds are these guys putting up?
Oh.
197? What is that?
Yeah, it looks like 190 and 195.
You can push on me.
There's some guys in here that's about 197. Further back in the back, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like they are really taking advantage of this draft to make it move. Trucks moving a lot faster than I thought they would, but I guess when you're in a group this big, that draft is just going to pull you along. Scotty Estep now back in control. He's got Dalton Geyer giving him a heck of a push on that inside lane. David Owens down on that bottom. He's got Cowgill working on him, and you can see the 47 of Angle trying to get involved as well. That outside lane, though, I would not be surprised to see Hillman and Dalton Geyer try to team up and eat up and get rid of David Owens. Those DDI drivers, they stick together.
To answer your question about the speeds machine, too, it's about 197 in the middle of the pack, about 190 up front, but you are hauling towards the back of that pack, at least 196, 197. A lot of fast lap times back there.
Yeah, so what about on the radio right now, Zach? Do you hear any teams the telling these guys to try to make moves, or is patience the order of the day at this stage of the race from the crew?
I mean, you called it, me and Gene. It's really just teams trying to stick together. You see that top line owned by DDI right now. Patrick Cowgill, a DDI driver, recently coming over this league, as you can tell by the triple numbers, but he's sticking there with Hillman and Sabir to make sure they can control that outside line, and then you have their other teammate, Dalton Geyer, on the inside second back, and then working together in the front to kind of control it all is Estep and Owens absolutely in a Discord together. And they can really control the pace of this whole field here, me and Jeans. There's only so much that those DDI trucks can do unless they want to take this thing 3 wide, and that would not be advised or make you any friends on lap 6.
Well, it would make you a friend in the booth. Mean Gene loves 3 wide. Hell, I love 4 wide, as long as it's not a parade lap like we saw in the Cup Series last year at Talladega in October. Boy, those were some yawners, 4 wide, but they were going 80%. Right here, though, 197 in the middle of the field. You know these guys are taking it wide open. What do you think, buddy? Us finding out from Zach that Estep and Owens are in that chat together, you think these two are colluding to try to control the speed of these lanes?
I think that's a mindset that whenever you have 2 people in the same Discord and on the same team, the idea is to control the top and the bottom lane, because you basically control the race at that point. The thing that throws it out is on this top lane with Owens up there, if the second or the third truck was to step out to the outside, that would trap Owens in the middle and he would just fall directly to the back. Talladega is a wide enough track to where it's not too risky going 3 wide, but obviously there's still some risk to it because you have to trust the people that you're around to hold their line and stuff like that in the corners. But it's a track that's easier to push the too wide control on the lanes at Talladega than it is at Daytona, with it being a narrower track.
Yeah, and it would be a big ask if you got stuck in the middle to ask your teammates to suddenly make a third lane just to pick you up, especially this early in the race. So Estep is still controlling the pace. David Owens next to him. So far, I'm looking at the leaderboard. Not a lot of movement. The only person I've really seen have issues is AJ Benesh. He is down 22 spots. AJ started in the 10th position and now suddenly finds himself at the back of the field just trying to hold on. Was that a contact issue? Or did you think he just is having issues with the draft right now?
I think that would be a strategic move. Something that I would do too if I was up towards the front. A lot of times people like to qualify these super speedways to see if they can get the bonus point for the pole and then instantly drop back, because the further back in the pack you are, the more reaction time you have to the whole field blowing up if incident does occur.
Well, either that or you get extra space to build up more momentum if you want to go for a nice juicy T-bone.
Absolutely, and riding back there also allows you to run about half to a quarter throttle, so you're also saving fuel.
So that's something to think about as we look back in the back of the field. Those guys are still in the pace. They're still in that lead group. So they're not out of this thing by any stretch of the imagination. We are on lap 10. Going to 35 is where that stage break. Well, remember, they cannot make it on fuel. Oh, and now we got some activity in the middle. Oh, and it is getting business is picking up. Look at that. 4 right there. You got 2 on the outside. That's Hillman kind of being left out to dry. That outside lane looked good a minute ago. Now he's out there by himself looking for friends.
That outside lane, it looked like we're 3 wide, a few rows deep. So if that outside lane can get stacked up with the trucks that's up there, going 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, it should even out. And then it'll just be momentum stuff and trusting everyone to hold their line.
Yeah, that is the biggest issue, is try not to make the pass while you're 3 wide. There is just not, you might be the fastest truck out there, but you can't make a hole where there isn't one. Isn't that right, Kyle Busch?
That is definitely,
you got to have the first
You definitely got to have a hole to fit in there instead of trying to make one yourself.
There is a 22 in the second row, 1 car back in the middle. Who knows?
That looks like that's David Brenner sitting back there, and I know he's teammates with Owens, I think.
Wow, what a move by Owens right there as he slams it down into the apron to get up ahead. Wonderful move there by Owens. How about Joe Amato now putting on a display? Oh, him and Brenner going at it. Brenner continues to push him, but that move, now you've got Amato, Brenner, and Owens down on that bottom row, and you know those 3 guys are in Discord together.
Oh,
and look at this now. Look at Steve Lewis in the middle making a run.
It's really finding the lane, finding the where. Oh, they're going 4 wide in turn 1.
Don't go 4 wide. What are you thinking? The 971 of Nate Maurer almost made a decision he would regret in the morning. I've had that coyote situation before. You about have to chew off an arm if you make a bad call like that. But Nate Maurer, wise as he is, stays behind Lewis. And now those 2 guys find them. Oh, contact. The 9 coming off of the wall. That's no good. Was that?
Oh, that looks like it involved a lot of people.
And no sooner do I say Nate Maurer avoided a bad decision than he gets caught up in someone else's bad decision. Maybe that was the 8 of case of beer that tanked off the wall. Yeah, I think it was. I think the 8 of case of beer tapped into the wall and just came down and made a whole new group of friends. You know they're going to have fun around the water cooler tomorrow.
You nailed it, man, Gene. You nailed it.
Yeah,
one of the weird things with the trucks too is it seems like with the next gens you can kind of bounce off the wall, but something with the trucks, it seems like once you clip the wall, like sucks you into it, so then you're fighting the wheel to come off of the wall, and before you know it, you have too much will into it, and it just sucks you all the way down in front of everyone.
Yeah, it's okay sometimes, so you definitely, off is okay, but down is not. A lot of people, speaking of Christopher Knott, looks like he cruised through the pits, took that opportunity to get his truck looked at, the number 69, speaking of off and on. He's trying to make his truck catch up to that big pack. Zach, any insight as to what happened? What's going on in the radio down there?
Exactly what you said is what happened, Gene. To a T. Good job. That's exactly what happened. A case of beer, and like what he said, got stuck to that wall, and it kind of is like there's Velcro in that thing sometimes. And you're just fighting that wheel more than you feel like you have to get off the wheel. I'm sorry, to get off the wall. And then once you do, it is going down the track a lot more than you anticipated, and it creates a situation like that. But here we are in the pits, and like I said, me and Gene, this is the perfect time. 14 laps in this race. We got about 26 laps of fuel per tank. This league running a 78% fuel load of what you would normally have, which comes out to about 26. So this right here will get you to the stage break as long as you're not leading laps, which I'm sure you guys will talk a lot about with how the air can affect you with that. But this is exactly what you want to keep your race as simple as possible. Is just be able to come in here. I don't think take tires, Mean Gene, and if you see anyone who lost significant track position between that caution and that pit stop, it's that they took tires. Because this is just not the time to do it. Only 3 sets in the pits for you in this league. But also, with only 14 laps of green flag racing at Talladega, that's absolutely no reason to take tires. But yeah, Case of Beer was very apologetic on the radio about that one. Took full ownership of it. And it's definitely just one of those things. There was no ill will from anyone in this field today. And that is the blessing of a fast repair that these guys have. So while these guys, a few of them are going to be using it earlier than they'd like to, their race certainly isn't over, as they will now be lining up behind Patrick Cowgill 2 weeks in a row. Me and Gene, this guy comes over, and I'm not surprised at all. I've been racing against this guy in other leagues for a long time. We're rivals who became friends and teammates, and yeah, I'm not surprised to see him doing this at 2 different types of tracks. This guy's very talented, as he is leading at yet another MRL Thursday night race.
Yeah, not a surprise to see rivals become such close friends. You can remember just a little while back, Kurt Busch and Ricky Stenhouse were ready to punch each other's lights out, actually got into some fisticuffs. And then fast forward to last week, and Kurt Busch is spreading lies to make it look like Ricky Stenhouse isn't the idiot meatballer that he is. So amazing what a rivalry can do to turn you into good friends. Patrick Cowgill, though, now being shown as your leader. Joe Amato has bumped up 7 spots. He'll be on that front row next to him. David Owens is in third on that second row. And Scotty Estef, he is not going anywhere. He's on the second row. Dalton Geyer, Zach Engel, Steve Lewis, who made that great run, taking advantage of when that middle lane appeared, is 7. 8 is Bobby Dodson, Zach Panzarella 9, and Graham McGivern is going to be driving in the 10th spot once we get that restart. Let's look a little bit back in the field, though. You can see there's some guys trying to make up for that crash that they experienced. David Brenner at the back, down 22 spots. Nate Maurer down 7. Case of Beer down 25 spots. And these guys still going back into the pits, trying to get a little bit more repair done.
BG, one thing I want to mention real quick before we go green here. This league also doing an in-season tournament. We've seen that over in the BRL. This one a little bit unique over here. The winner of this in-season tournament, that team gets to choose the championship race. So the championship race, undecided here, it will be the winner of the in-season tournament, and this is the first race of that. So there's a few different pairings that we'll see, and I'll shout them out as they become relevant throughout the race, or if they become relevant. I will say a lot of them are teams that already exist, right? So you have Zach Panzarella and Dalton Geyer, who are teamed up on Team DDI 44 Ever. They are also in-season tournament teammates. And also David Owens and Brenner are, I believe, teammates together here in this league as well, and they are in-season teammates as well. And last set is Novella and Hillman, are also DDI teammates, and they're also teamed up on Team Novella. There's 4 leaders of those teams, and they're Joseph Volpis, Zach Panzarella, Novella, and David Owens. So something to look out for as well today, Mean Gene and Buddy. We got a whole set of agendas.
Well, we'll definitely have to get a graphic up for that next week when we are at the Chicago Street Course. Lights are off of the pace car. Pace car out of the way. We're looking at Patrick Cowgill. He's on that inside lane in that white and black CTN NBI car. And outside of him is going to be Joe Amato. Getting ready to go green. Let's see the start. Geico restart zone. Not a very fast start here.
Looks like a rolling start for...
And away we go.
It got you, Mean Gene. The first restart zone got you.
It did. I was looking at the wrong wall. You even me drive. I've done that. I've done that leading the pack. Boy, I
so
drove Joe Volpis crazy on that one. He was like, go, go, go. And I said, no, no, no.
One thing that I noticed that just happened right here is I don't know what happened to that outside line. It was like they didn't go at all.
They were looking at the wrong wall, the spot too, buddy. I'm not the only one. Wow, look at that inside lane go. Cowgill, Owens, Estep, Geyer, Angle, Amato, all the way back to Lewis. That single lane still going. Zach Panzarella, Bobby Dodson, until you finally see some side-by-side. 9 back, trucks really spread out. I imagine some of those guys have a little more damage. They thought they could repair it, save that fast repair. Didn't work out. Well, look at Amato take it up high, trying to make an outside lane.
Caution.
Pace car is coming back. The pace car is racing Cowgill.
I wonder what happened right there. I didn't see it on the...
I did not either, but there looks like a victim right there. That is the 31 of Kevin Kyle. He went in and then he went out, and that is not how you want to do it. What do you think, Zach? He's coming in there. How bad's that truck look? They must look really bad. Zach does not want to talk bad about it.
Oh, man, it's missing a whole right front fender.
Look, he's still spinning him. Look at him.
Yeah, Kevin Kyle was collected in an early incident during that restart. Yeah, it was not a pretty one, Mean Gene. And that's what happens when you stack them back together. And I don't know what Kyle was doing there with his little burnout, but nonetheless, it did look good. And repping California, nonetheless, does not save him there.
Did you see that
quick
shot
caution and... Luckily, everyone did pit there, but man, if you had stayed out, now you'd be flirting with not pitting at all. But all these guys...
Brenner, look at that. He got him a goatee. I had a goatee in 1997.
Absolutely.
And he got him a cougar on the back of that bad boy.
I mean, if you're going to do it anywhere, do it here.
It looks like Brenner is going to race the pace car now. Maybe
he's
told him to go out and hit the pace car.
Getting there early for that lucky dog, Mean Gene. This is a long track, and with the iRacing shortening the cautions a little bit with the latest update, you really do kind of have to do this at these larger tracks. Get all the time you can to go all the way back around, right, and get to the end of this field. And there he goes. He is that lucky dog. And man, that little phrase that he chose for the bottom, if gap, comma, car. I don't know if there's anyone that could be more true about. David Brenner is just an animal on these type of tracks here in Mean Gene. It's something about that Gulf Coast team, is it not?
Is he a puma or a cougar? What kind of animal is he? I see something.
He's
a puma.
It's a puma. He's a puma. He's just a ferocious puma. Majestic, yet ferocious.
Yep, and being a Gulf Coast racing guy down from Pensacola, Florida, definitely proud to show his puma blood. I've seen a guy with tiger blood before. Now we see a guy repping the Puma blood. All right, so we're on lap 19. We are racing to 35. Zach, you said these guys can make 30, so we should see them go all the way to the stage break now with the fuel in those trucks, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And all this really does mean, Gene, is just up the intensity of this as we're not double file yet, so that means we got at least 2 to go here, as David Owens thinks there's a chicane in the Talladega infield, thinks this is Daytona. It is not, my friend.
Well, you better not play around. Last time I saw Brenner or David Owens try to take a chicane was in the Wednesday night Xfinity, and that 251 car finished him off quick. So don't be tempting the rookies. Don't tempt the rookies.
He thinks he's cute. Me and Gene. We know that all too well. But yeah, these guys are all good to go. They are racing for stage points, and this is definitely a great opportunity to collect as many as you can at a track where sometimes you do kind of have to prioritize other things other than stage points. But a big thing here too, Mean Gene, that I think you guys got to keep your eye on is this size of this field, and with that, a lot of what I like to call randos and the rando alert. Guys who aren't normally here who can spoil it for those who need stage points. And it's not their job to give anyone stage points. They're thinking about track position and giving themselves the best chance to win this race. But nonetheless, they can definitely play as spoilers to very valuable stage points. As we saw before this race started, the points are very, very tight, Mean Gene. You saw me on the top of those standings, but man, what you probably also may have seen there was a giant goose egg in the wins column. What I would give to be locked into these playoffs, even in first place, I can generally tell you, I have no sense of comfort as the points leader without that win. It's that close from first all the way down to 12th. So these stage points are extremely important, especially at a unpredictable track like here, where you can go from third place to the back of the field in the blink of an eye.
Well, we actually get to talk to one of the rookies earlier. Didn't want to be identified, but he made it really clear that he'd been waiting for this, and he's about to make a name for himself. Just knows what happened today. He's about to make a name for himself. So can't wait to see exactly how that turns out. Yeah, he was definitely from the Bayou or Louisiana. Lights are off. We're going to say bring it down that back stretch. What do you think, buddy? Anybody you're keeping an eye on, just showing intense speed or reckless abandon?
I'm really keeping my eye on Amato. He's really strong and really fast at super speedways. He is one that I wouldn't, it doesn't matter where he's at in the field, I wouldn't count him out. Type
Amato, and he's got good teammates too, so I think if the opportunity comes up, they're going to push. Oh, why do I feel nauseous when I see a number 47 out there? I like Zach Engel just fine, but for some reason, the presence of a orange 47.
By the way, buddy, 15 laps. It took him 15 laps to bring that up.
A little bit sad. All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
We are coming out of turn number 4. The pace car should be getting out of the way. We are looking at Patrick Cowgill. He will be your control truck, the 931. David Owens on the outside, ready to make a move. Scotty Estep still not going anywhere. And now Dalton Geyer, he is outside in that yellow truck. I'm not going to be fooled by that Geico sign as we are waiting for them to enter the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, it looks like they're green.
Yeah. Look at that jump, buddy. Cowgill looking good.
Absolutely. The one thing that makes me nervous about that is the gap that you create, because with the strength of the draft here, if the 48 wanted to slip in front of Owens, he has room there, and it all depends on how aggressive you want to be into. The bigger gap that you get as the leader, the worse off you probably are with. You're just going to be pulling all the trucks behind.
Yeah, definitely a passive move. Discretion, the better part of valor, as we saw Scotty Estep waiting. That does allow Cowgill, though, to continue his assault on the field. Leader side by side with David Owens coming around.
I think Owens is going to have this lap. Definitely think Owens is going to lead this lap with the outside and the aggressive pushes from behind. Way more trucks bumper to bumper on the outside than there is on the side, with that gap behind us.
And no sooner do we say the outside lane is the way to go Then Owens abandons them to block and then goes back up high. He looks like Bubba Wallace out there, driving in his rearview mirror, cutting left and right to make sure that he stays in the stronger lane. Cowgill unaffected inside lane, now trying to show a little bit of dominance. Outside lane, though, they are gapped up tightly, and you're going to see Owens probably get closer to that lead coming around to the start-finish line.
That move by Owens to dip down to the inside, I think initially hurt the outside lane. It looked like whenever Owens came back up, it caused a little bit of back up in the outside lane to lose a little bit of momentum, which let Cowgill get out ahead there on the inside.
Well, if you're David Owens, you would prefer just to race one person and not have multiple trucks making their way to that front, and perhaps that was why he put on that move. So right now, looks like Kevin Kyle is going to be out of it, currently being shown 2 laps down. So I think he is our first victim of this track. Other than that, it looks like back to Benesh, 30 trucks still in that lead group. And then Lynott and Maurer trying to make the best of it that they can as they find themselves playing catch up. And there we go. We can see those 2 drivers right there, Kyle Lynott and Nate Maurer, just trying to stay as close to the lead lap as they can. Something tells me those boys did not use their fast repair.
That's why I was getting ready to say. With them being that far off the pace and everything, I would imagine they're saving their fast repair something more major, and they're just hoping for a caution to be able to get what damage they have right now and then save it fast repair for later.
Yeah, maybe a good idea. Lap 24 here. We've got 12 laps remaining until we will have a stage break. I think I see a third lane trying to form, buddy.
They're starting to form up there on the outside, and it looks like they got a handful of trucks, which is going to give this middle lane a run for their money. That top lane seems to be able to carry the momentum a lot better than all the other lanes. You kind of got to use side draft too, because you want to pull those trucks back a little bit and then separate yourself from them.
Ooh, and look at that. You can see Owens go up high, trying to slow down that outside lane, and he cuts back down into the middle. But I think the time is now to make that third lane start to work. You can see the speed of the... Who is that in that yellow and blue truck? Can't get a good look on it. Who's the lead truck on that outside? Dalton guy. Oh my word, I just did a broadcast with that guy Sunday and I already forgot him. Sorry, Dalton. Running that sweet DDI truck right there, trying to make that outside work. And it looks like he could do it. Remember, we did see Dalton win at New Hampshire, so he knows how to do it on the short track, and now he's showing that he also knows how to make the super speedway work. Making it work. Look at Owens. This guy cannot pick a lane. He's like the pretty girl at senior prom, bouncing around to each of her 3 dates. But at some point, one of those dates might even get mad and give it to him right in the rear a little too hard.
You know what's a benefit to what would be a benefit to the super speedway races is one thing that we lack in iRacing is your spotter is kind of automated, so it won't tell you which lane has the front coming. And in real life, you have a live spotter there looking at what each lane is doing and being able to pick and choose. He's basically telling his driver which lane to jump. And that's not happening in races like this with iRacing unless they have a live spotter. So whenever we see drivers jump lane to lane like this, they're just doing an excellent job paying attention to not only where they're going out ahead of them, but also mirrors, because it's up to them to make those calls for which they have.
And we have seen that in iRacing. We have seen live spotters for people before. Either a guy who's out of the race can follow you, and that is an option to turn on live spotter. In fact, I hear possibly Andy Houston might be available for some iRacing spotting here in the near future after he put on that amazing display of observation on Sunday. Owens now on that bottom, really controlling that lane. He has got Joe Amato right up his tailpipe, and then the 931 of Cowgill as well. So Owens and then the two fellas that we were talking about keeping an eye on, your boy Joe Amato and Cowgill, who was so fast last week, making it work. And then a little bit deeper, Scotty Estep still wanting to be there. And from that across, Scotty Estep around, you can see they're 3 wide. That inside lane is just still so long, those guys not wanting to take a chance yet. In fact, the furthest back we can see is that Tide truck on that outside lane. Really nice. I gotta say, I really like that Tide look. Who is that? Ballier? Was that his name? Yeah, Sawyer. Kevin Sawyer. Like that Tide right there. Look at that. I like the Ricky Rudd one, but this yellow one's got it. I just like yellow cars. I don't know what it is.
It's easy to see on track.
I know when I'm in my yellow car, it's just a sign of caution for everyone else to be aware of.
I used to run a black back end on all the cars that I ran, and I thought that maybe people wasn't seeing me whenever I was getting ran over, so I started trying to make them a normal.
And then you just started driving faster so they couldn't catch you, and then it wasn't a problem, right?
Oh yeah, it's not a problem as long as no one can catch you. That's why I put all my effort into qualifying. And then it doesn't always translate into the race.
Well, we are at lap 30 now. There are 6 laps to go, 5 after they come across that start-finish line. And right now, David Owens is definitely the man to beat at this stage of the game. The circumstances could change after they come in and fuel up based on strategies and mistakes and errors. But at this point, unless a caution comes out, I'm saying David Owens is going to be tough to beat. He's got his Gulf Coast Racing buddy Joe Amato behind him. They probably have some kind of Illuminati deal that he'll just push him up to the front in the race. Outside lane still trying to make it work, but side drafting seems to be killing those 2 lanes.
Yeah, the side draft stuff is basically you're not looking to benefit yourself, you're looking to disadvantage the truck on your inside. So the closer that you can get to them and suck them back, the worse it's going to be for them. And it kind of makes you feel like you're doing something, but you're not doing anything to benefit yourself. You're just disadvantaging the other truck.
Well, Dalton Geyer been stuck on that outside as that lead truck. Finally, someone else comes up there. The black. Oh, contact. No, Dalton. Oh, and Geyer.
Dalton, the Tide truck.
I just said, why? I cursed all these people, everyone whose name I mentioned.
That was your fault, Bean Gene.
I did. I got to quit talking about him. I talked about Owens. Whoa, it's still going on.
I'll send you that invoice, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
The 36 cannot be pleased. He's down there trying to make it work.
I can tell you guys about that one. That was just, like we talked, you guys were spot on leading up to it. Just 3 lanes, so much going on. We're in the pay window, right? Another big thing about this league, so like you guys have talked about, lap 35, the stage end. But if we get a caution within about 3 laps, 4 laps that, it depends on the track, it's going to end there, right? We're not going to race it out for 1 lap. So that was the stage end right there. So really when you're in that front pack like Dalton was, you're racing like it's the white flag every single lap once they're in that 32-lap window to place like that. So the completion of lap 31 there, guys, was our stage break, or was going to be our stage pay window, I should say. And that's the top 10 for that lap 31 completion will be who takes home the stage points from that one. But that is, you often see that, especially at these plate races, and a ton in real life and a ton in this league. When you get to the end of these stages, the racing just gets super wild. I don't think stage racing looks any better than than it does when it comes to super speedway racing, right? That really is what stage racing, when it really shines and looks its best, and you can really understand why NASCAR came up with a pretty controversial idea. But gosh, you'd be lying if you said it didn't produce great racing. So I think what we'll see here, Mean Gene and Buddy, is I think the whole field's going to come down here this next time around, and this would be the time to take tires. You're under yellow, you have a ton of time to get that track position, and the points are being paid out again until lap 70. So if there's any time to take tires, it's right now. So keep your eye on that as we enter pit lane.
All right, so results of the stage. David Owens did take first place in the end of that stage. Joe Amato second, Patrick Outgo third. Chris Smith, he gets up into the fourth position. Scotty Estep, Graham McIvern, Zach Engel, Gary Moore, that's Mr. to you, is 8th, Zach Panzarella 9, and teammate Alex Hillman 10th. That is your top 10. Oh, Steve Lewis missed it by one spot. Missed it by that much.
I think you're a lap early, me and Gene, because I did not get stage points. I ended up 11th. 9th was at the completion of that lap, so go up one lap from there, and might not be able to now, but I still think that resulted in Owens collecting the stage win. But I do think our boy Louie got to collect himself.
I'm looking at Sim Racer Hub.
Oh. That's let us down in the past, Gene. That's let us down in the past.
You got it. Look at that beautiful yellow car. Truck. No idea.
It's not Pennzoil.
It's okay.
I do like what you said, Zach, about taking tires right here. Everyone knows that on a super speedway, tire temperature is everything. Usually whenever you qualify for a super speedway, most tracks you just go flat out because you want heat in the tires, grip, and all this other stuff, and that does not work. So you want to be extremely easy on the tires, usually shift up all the way to 4th and do your out lap, and you're trying to keep as much heat out of the tires as possible.
Don't tell them the secrets, buddy. Don't tell them the secrets. But no,
that is a secret.
I guess that's something we always say that we should do in these broadcasts, so let's tell them. That really is, and Buddy could not be more spot on, that's everything. All those guys that you saw who found that extra 10th or 2 to be in the top 10 of this qualifying lap, at the beginning of this race with their qualifying lap, was by doing that. And the best way to do that is you don't want to be hitting 110, or I'd say 120, until you're on the backstretch of your out lap. You really want to protect those tires. Every degree matters. And so, we're talking Celsius, or we're talking Fahrenheit here, buddy, not even Celsius.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot more, like you like to show us.
And definitely, this is only limited to super speedway stuff. So if people
100%.
are having an issue struggling with super speedway qualifying, whenever you come out of the pits, you're going through the apron in 1 and 2, keep it under 100 and hit full speed on the backstretch, and I promise you'll gain time on your qualifying time.
Yup, that's a secret, and it will black flag you if you don't go 100. I think it's 110 by the time you exit that cone.
Yeah, I think it is 110.
So hit that, and there's your VRN and MRL broadcasting cheat code for the day, boys. Because that is one of, every single guy, correct me if I'm wrong, buddy, every single guy in the Coca-Cola series is doing that.
Yep.
What about those guys revving their engines to burn fuel? Is that a thing?
That's a weird one, and I guess I'll let Buddy take this one, because I tried that today. I didn't rev my engines, but I brought the car out there, and I was like, I kind of have to pee, so I'm going to go do that while I leave the car out here and burn some fuel. And I qualified the worst out of all my teammates. So I don't know. I've heard there isn't much to that.
I don't think it burns as much fuel as people think. And you're getting your engine hotter.
That too.
So whenever you're sitting there idle, the way iRacing handles all that stuff, like you can blow an engine if you just sit there idle and not do anything and let it run, because you're not bringing cool air into it, and it'll blow the engine up in iRacing if you're not doing that.
It will.
So I don't know if engine heat has something to do with speed, but I've never had luck with trying to drain fuel out of the truck or whatever, just sitting on pit road before qualifying.
All right, well, we are about to go green. David Owens is being shown as your leader. He has chosen the outside. Joe Amato on the front row with him. Alex Hillman, Patrick Cowgill in the second row. Third row is going to be Estep, Chris Smith, Zach Panzarella, Graham McGivern in the fourth row. Gary Moore, that's Mr. to You, and Zach Engel. It's going to be row 5. They are coming through that Geico restart zone. Slow rolling start. Owens ends up getting a good lead over Amato. Cuts down in front of his teammate, and it is now Owens, Amato in that inside row. Hillman on the outside. He cuts down hard to get into that lane.
Move.
That was a good move. And now Scotty Estep's the lead truck on the outside.
I like that aggressive move to the inside to not get stuck on the outside.
Look at the outside go, though.
Yeah, just me saying that right now, if he would have stayed to the outside, it's so hard to foresee the future on the runs to happen.
Oh, no. Looks like 3 wide. That's Steve Lewis on the outside. Trying to hold on as he is bumped. Hold on, Louis.
Oh, no. It looked like they got 4 wide there for a minute.
That is terrifying. Hopefully, these guys are going to form it back up. Lewis did run on that outside earlier, so he's accustomed to running out there on that third lane. Hopefully, he can find a couple of guys to run with him. Inside lane, though, seems to have an advantage with those 6 trucks lined up. 4 trucks on the outside. Ooh, a lot of wiggling right there.
One thing,
what is
I think that
Sawyer, Kevin Sawyer wiggling. Keep it straight, pal. Keep it straight.
the one thing I don't like about the outside is it looked like they only had 3. They have 3 trucks in a line. So their best bet right here is to fall in behind the. Who is that black truck right there?
Thank you, Joe. That was Brower with you. Good call, Joe.
OKB wiggling.
Is that his
There's
middle
someone
name?
on the.
KB Wiggles?
Yeah. I'm really wondering about track temp too. I know before this race started, it looked like the track temp was 109 degrees, and then you mix in side draft and the way that the air pulls the truck left and right, depending on how close you are. It can induce some wiggle, I think.
Hey, look at that. You ask and you shall receive. Look at that track temp. 7 degrees on the register. It looks like 184-degree wind.
Yeah, 185. Track temp.
There you go, 94.
94. Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff by Joe, the producer, right there. Louis still trying to make that outside work. Look at him. He won't give it up. I mean, nobody's going to let him in, no. That's just the deal. Like, nobody's going to let him. He's hoping that maybe somebody from that middle lane would jump up trying to improve their position. Right now, though, everyone just seems to be content.
Yeah, if they can get more trucks on that outside lane, I think it would work a little bit better.
Now it's down to 2.
I think where the thing with, they're just getting abandoned on the outside, and it's going to be impossible to make it work unless Louis was super aggressive with the side draft and basically running door to door with the inside lane. It's going to be hard to try to make up any time on that middle lane without sucking them backwards.
Yeah, and if he did side draft, the guy behind him would probably just take the opportunity to jump in.
Send it 4 wide.
And he's trying to make it work, though. Look at him. It's 3. If he could just get one more friend out there. Looks like a couple.
They need those 3 trucks to catch up to him, and I think they'll have something for the inside and the middle lane.
Yeah, it looks like Kevin Sawyer's trying to tighten it back up there. Steve O'Brien as well. He fades off, so if Sawyer could catch up, maybe that outside lane could make something work. But that inside lane, look at that. It's just got 9 trucks deep.
They got 4 trucks. They got like 5 trucks there on the outside. There we go. All they need is 4 trucks really, and it'll make a benefit. Anything more than that will
push him to the front.
Yeah.
Really
with the right people in a line with 4, being super aggressive, you can make it work with 4 trucks, but.
Well, that middle right now S-step back to the front. He's side by side with Lewis. This is down at the bottom, side drafting an issue. We bring it into the turn. You can see momentum really turns to the inside lane while they're there. Let's see if that outside lane can use that higher speed coming out of that banking to pull up straight. Oh, look at these 3 trucks, side by side by side. Inside lane finally, oh, it's wiggling a little bit. And they come across, and your leader, as they come across, looks like it is going to be Steve Lewis. Did they give that one to Lewis?
So. They got the outside momentum going.
Captain
I
Crunch?
think the inside has the advantage on the entry, but that momentum on the outside is hard to match with. In the middle, kind of there.
So let me ask you. Oh, Amato sideways almost collects the 12 of Panzarella.
That almost looked like a bad push. The
43
might have been bumping the bumper or pushing the pusher.
Looks like the 43 of Neil got a little tap from Lester. He turned sideways.
He did pretty much collect the 12 of Panzarella. That was close to, that's pretty much what you thought, buddy. I'm not sure if we've been able to see on stream today, but that 19 car has had some connection issues. It's been blinking in and out, and I don't know if there's a worse place for that to happen than a super speedway. And I think that is what originally may have caused that wreck, but just been a mistimed blink, which then you don't know where he is in front of you, right? And then that results in a bad push. But you can't really blame the pusher for that. And in terms of the damage, I should have gotten, I was saved by the bell there. I got a 4X, but I got no damage because the car just morphed right through me due to his connection issues. So a bizarre one there nonetheless. I think a lot of guys had a similar situation here. So keep your eye on that incident count as this goes on, because we're seeing these weird ones, guys, where cars aren't collecting as much damage as they should, whether it be connection or whether it just be luck of the draw in terms of where you hit the car. But those incidents are stacking up. And once you hit 17 in this league, it's a drive-through penalty. Once you hit 25, you're DQ'd for the night. So you got to be careful with that. And every time that something like that happens, it's a 4X. That's 4 incidents. So do some did some division there. You can really only do that 4 times plus 1 small mistake, and those can pile up quickly. That was a big one there, and I mean, you guys saw it the whole time. Pure insanity. 3 wide the whole time. Every line working the way it should. And so now you're going to see a mixed bag. If we go back to the pit road here, you're going to see a mixed bag of pit stops. Some of these guys here, as you guys can see, lap 43 out of 70. And if you're getting the vibe of that field, right? If you were just in the midst of that 3 wide, you're thinking, if it stays like that for the next 35, there is a 0% chance that we're staying green. And cautions out at these super speedways can really save you a lot of time, a lot of gas. Normally about 2 to 3 laps per caution flag saved in terms of fuel. So I think a lot of these guys right here are thinking, this could be my last pit stop, so no tires, let me protect this track position so I don't have to be in the middle of all that craziness, but also I'm not bringing this thing back down. I'm gonna do everything it takes to protect this track position and just hope that the field stays this crazy, and I can make this what's supposed to be 26 laps last 35 due to a lot of them being under yellow flag.
Well, we'll just have to pay attention to how that goes.
I like that.
Did get a little Go ahead.
I like that call. You kind of see how rowdy everything is, and you can save a lot of fuel at these tracks by shutting the truck off, the clutching. A lot of people, I don't think they realize how much fuel you can actually save at super speedways whenever you're under caution and underpaid. Before you even take the green flag.
And even at speed, buddy, like you talked about that earlier, even at speed, you can save so much fuel 3rd, 4th in line compared to the car that's either the pusher behind the leader of the pack or the pack leader, where that's got to be a 3-2 lap delta there. You can save so much fuel. Really better than most other tracks, right?
At these super speedways, if I actually screen my view, I think you would be surprised. You know, whenever the race starts and you're doing your first little parade lap or whatever, I think you'd be surprised at how often I'm already saving fuel and shutting the car off.
brilliant. It's like Mean Gene always talks about. It's counting backwards, and that should start on lap 70. It feels like you should simplify it sometimes in these Thursday night races because of that stage break, and you kind of want to just count backwards for this one, for example, 70 minus 35 and just go off that. But really, it is valuable to be doing it out in that parade lap and be thinking about how I can even save time in the pits off of a gas-only stop, right? If you save that little bit of extra fuel, that's just that extra half a second you don't have to spend in pit lane gassing it back up.
Absolutely, because the more fuel you can save, it's not necessarily about fuel mileage, it's about saving time in the pit. Another little tidbit secret for super speedway stuff, if you uncheck your tear off, that'll save you a second.
Okay, is that true? A second for a tear off?
It's about a second. It's the very last thing that happens on a pit stop. So if you uncheck your tear off, you'll exit your pit. If you're side by side with someone and you guys are doing the same exact equal pit stop and they have their tear off selected and you don't, you'll gain a second on your pit stop to them.
Jeez, what are these tear offs made out of? Cement? Like, take them off when you're doing the tires, boys.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of tidbit, but really, whenever it comes to saving fuel, if you only have to put 6 gallons in and the next guy has to put 7, that's going to give you an advantage on pit road.
Yeah, I agree. And as we get ready to go green here, guys, keep your eye on that front row. And as Mean Gene's boy Joey Logano likes to call it, the okie dokie. And what that is only Joey Logano can come up with something that cool sounding. But it's when the lead car lets in the car to its outside because they're working together to their lane so they can control one lane and push each other. Look for that here between two teammates controlling both lines.
Pace car is off, and David Owens up in the lead. Scotty Estep side by side. Behind them, you can see Lewis. He's the second truck on the outside row. Second truck on the inside row. Looks like Jonathan Queso-Beer has now made his way to the front. Zach Panzarella up there, as well as Alex Hillman in that third row. Here comes Owens into the Geico restart zone. He's going to get a good run. Outside lane, trying to keep it close. Okie dokie is off the table because you can see just how close that number 8 of Queso-Beer is behind Owens. Lewis now down to the inside lane, down on that apron. He's the third truck back. The outside, though, trying to make it work. You can see the 08 of Hillman alongside Scotty Estep trying to make speed. A little bit of lane swapping by these guys. Outside lane, really trying to get it together. Quick jump. Look at Estep cut down in front of
Okie dokie.
David Owens right there. I think he took it. I don't think that was given to him. That was a brutal move, but that does abandon on the outside lane the 08 of Hillman. Hillman now the lead truck on the outside. He's got KB Wiggles giving him a little bit of push, and Dave Kirkpatrick now third truck deep as they are side by side coming across that start finish line. Looks like Hillman going to get credit for leading that lap, buddy.
Yeah, the one thing that I liked that lap before is the way the outside line was super aggressive in their pushes. They had 3 trucks in line, all bumper to bumper. Really risky move, but you can see it put a step out in front. The outside line right now is struggling, I think, a little bit because if they got a little bit more aggressive with their pushes, I think they could overcome that inside line.
It's so hard to make that decision. You and I talked about that at the beginning of the race. You can't get up too deep under and that larger rear. Oh, and speaking of KB Wiggles, he pushes so hard that he makes Hillman.
Oh my
God! And now
God.
we're wrecking. Oh my! Oh.
Calamity.
And look, there's a T-bone. Excellent. Everybody likes a steak.
Oh my gosh, that looks like a DDI truck that was involved in that. The 17.
Now that's 17. That's Trevor Woodward, the Canadian driver. He cannot be happy. Graham McGivern looks like he got a quick tow. Remember, racing is an adventure, not a hobby.
Nothing like a quick tow at pit entry, is there not, buddy?
He doesn't know.
The
He
best.
just wins.
I know, when that
absolute best.
Oh, it's just the best. When the engine blows, it doesn't want to run anymore, and you're staring at your boys who can fix it. Oh, that feels great.
So, talking about whenever you should tow and not tow, I don't know if you guys remember last Monday night, but I completely got destroyed in the tri-oval. And I thought not towing was going to be faster, so I was just making pace laps around before I could get to the pit road entry. And I don't know how long it took me, but I ended up a lap down. Several people got black flags, even though I had to end a line. Penalty given to me voluntarily. And in first gear, I could only make 39 miles an hour, pacing around Daytona, trying to get to pit road.
Little pump fake there by Scott Youssef. Yeah, and we've all been there. We've all been there.
Taking this opportunity to come down into the pits right now after that. Lap 48, 22 laps remaining. So this is an opportunity to possibly take the last pit stop that they will. David Owens, one of those guys, might be wanting to take that chance. No tires, so Owens should be good for the rest of the race. Brenner, his Gulf Coast Racing teammate, probably working with that same strategy. You can see a few other trucks in there taking that same opportunity. AJ Benish coming in as well. During that last caution, we did see Nate Maurer make his way back onto the lead lap. Cautions and a fast repair should have Maurer be able to be a factor in the race. We've seen Maurer win many times on Monday and Wednesday, so now he is wanting to find himself a victory here in the Truck Series. Other people to pay attention to, KB Wiggles is up 19 spots into the third position. Dave Kirkpatrick, see him running in many leagues. That's a 27 Chevrolet. He's up 12 spots currently in the number 5 position. Other people on the move, Christopher Smurrell, first time I've mentioned his name, and he's still rep Folcom Racing from that Bonfire Race League, but he's out there by himself. He's in the number 10 Ford, currently being shown in 11th place, 19 spots up. Tommy Fox up 18 spots in 13th. Steve Lewis down to 15th. Steve Lewis must be one of those guys making a strategy move there, buddy. Some of the guys coming into pits, others staying out. What would your strategy be at this point? Would you think pitting to make it to the race, or still worried about Rex, stay in the front and avoid that mid-pack shenanigans?
At this point in the race, whenever you're 22 laps to go, it's really a coin flip.
There's been a lot of cautions in a row.
I mean,
there has been a lot of cautions, and there's no right or wrong choice, I don't think. Exactly. If you're really good at dodge and wreck, take your chances, go to the back, not worry about it. I don't know how many races I've been in where the wreck starts at the very front. Nowhere's safe at a super speedway.
Let me tell you guys, I can tell you guys what happened there. In terms of the kind of why you saw that group come in. They saw what just happened. That took about 5 laps for that next caution to come out. That was the group of cars who did not come in that previous time. Then seeing, oh boy, okay, so it is going to be like that. That group that came in before us, they're not coming back down because they're going to have enough fuel with one more caution. Let me get this out of the way now. Let's get this fuel in the car so I don't have to come back with 10 to go or something like that. This is everyone, in my opinion right here, I think making their bed and wanting to make sure they have enough fuel to make it and don't have to play that game on top of the hecticness we're seeing here.
One of the other weird things whenever it comes to super speedways is the way that iRacing handles incident points anyways. And that is, let's say that you bump a truck in front of you and you get a 0x from it because it's not aggressive or anything like that or malicious or nothing. You just get a regular 0x. They instantly get involved in an incident, that'll automatically upgrade your 0x to a 4x. Even though you're not involved in an incident. Yeah, it'll chain itself to, I don't know how many times I've had a 0x and then they get into an incident with another car and it automatically upgrades my 0x to a 4x. because they were involved in a collision.
I got my first 0X that took away me being the lucky dog last Sunday. That's always a good
That's a fun feeling. A fun
Pace car off the track. Scotty Estep is going to be your lead control truck. You can see Hillman side by side. KB, Jonathan, Casabir, Kilpatrick, and Panzarella on the outside. That is your front six. They make their way around the false Geico restart zone. Coming into the true Geico restart zone, keeping an eye on that 48 truck. He is your control truck. All the trucks now with enough fuel to make it to the end. If we can go green the remainder of the race. Estep leads him across the start-finish line down the front stretch into turn. Inside lane seems to be working 6 deep all the way back to the orange 47 of Zach Engel. Outside lane, though, has 5 as well, led by Hillman all the way back to the 907 of Kevin Collier. A little bit of trouble and confusion behind them on the outside. Little wall tap there, but he keeps his momentum. Let's keep an inside look on that inside lane. You got KB, second truck on that inside lane. In 7 of Kirkpatrick. Both those guys were showing a little bit of instability when they were running in pack. Now that they're together, should be interesting. If you're Scotty, you got to really be holding your breath. A lot of puckering sounds coming from the driver's seat of the 48.
I think a lot of the...
3 wide, and that's not what we want. Kirkpatrick goes up into the wall. Collier. There's the 5 of Smurrell, 53 spinning around. There's the 17 as well, having a bad day. I hope these guys, that's the second wreck for Trevor Woodward. Hopefully he saved his fast repair, because watching that 17 Budweiser Chevrolet go around, that could end your day quickly.
Could definitely end your day quickly, especially if you've already used fast repair and all that stuff like you were saying. One thing that I'm noticing is this is a common deal whenever it comes to these races is we're under 20 to go right now, so it's basically put up or shut up. It's go time based, and there's not going to be a lot of the patience from the beginning of the race at this point of the race.
But you got to make one lap, buddy, right? You got to at least get up to race speed. That way you can make a clean pass. If you're not even up to race speed yet and you stick your nose somewhere, you got to expect that bad result. And I don't want to hear anybody say, I got a fast repair. I'll just, You can't say that, because that fast repair is going to come when you least expect it. There's Steve Fugit right now. He's the league admin. But right now, that Eagles fan, he's not celebrating that Super Bowl anymore. He is worried about other problems. How's he looking down there, Zach? Is that the end of Steve's day?
It's going to be close to it, me and Gene. We're at the point now where these guys, like you guys have said, have used those fast repairs, and that's why, like you said, you don't just rely on them. At these types of tracks, I don't even know if they should be here, because it creates this mayhem and this false sense of confidence. Saw right there, that was a not clear situation, and you were right to call them out for not being up to speed either. But 11 car sticking his nose in a little bit late twice in this in this race today of Owens. Just a little bit aggressive on him, and I get why that 11 has a fast truck underneath him. But he gave up a lot of that track position there, guys, choosing maybe the second most ideal pit strategy, but that cost him a lot of positions, and he wasn't showing a ton of patience working his way through the field. As you now see Cowgill trying to not make that same mistake he made last week and make sure there's enough fuel in that car to finish the race. Also, I'm seeing some damage on the front left of that 391 of Cowgill. Leno as well has had some issues since the beginning of this one, so he's just been kind of fighting from behind here, but now getting his lap back, so that's good for him. A lot of these guys now, me and Gene, I think, trying to make sure they have a healthy enough car to at least keep the draft, right? You can afford a decent amount of damage at these tracks and still maintain the draft. We've talked a lot about that. But if you're not confident with it, if it's feeling loose on corner entry, or you can't handle any pushes with any sort of confidence, or like that 19 Amato like we're seeing right now, it just straight up isn't driving. As you just saw that car get very, very healthy in front of our very eyes. That was his fast repair happening right there. Then you got to do what you got to do and give yourself a chance to win this thing, because like Buddy said, it's put up or shut up time.
Well, Amato's got other problems as well. We got a little bit of audio from him being involved in that last crash where he wrecked. Top of three wide top. Everything looked good. Coming top of three, clear all around. Amato wrecking behind. No caution. Keep digging here. No caution. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at David Brenner. So Amato
hey, similar
has
cars.
Amato has his own problems right now.
The one thing that I'm looking at, the one thing that I'm looking at right now is Case of Beer being up front. At least on my timing, is shown as him being in P1.
Yeah, he won last year.
He is super, super strong at super speedways. There's been a couple of times that he's reached out to me and said, I'm going to go with you, just make the move. And I never made the move, and it was probably my mistake. But it is what it is. Because I don't like that being that guy that causes the big one because of a misjudgment.
It's ridiculous how strong this guy is, buddy, at super speedways, and he's filling in the gaps everywhere else, getting his first win on a non-super speedway last week, and that meant the world to Case of Beer. He was so stoked on that one, but he always has these ones circled. He came over for one race on Thursdays last season, and it was at this track, and he got it done. I can tell you, you're spot on right there about his ability here to just do essentially whatever he wants. I'm not good enough to be in third place right now, I'll tell you that. But I am, and it's just because I just follow that 8 car. It's pretty easy.
Yep.
Truck.
He only led one lap last year at Talladega, but it was the final lap which led to Jonathan Case of Beer taking the victory at Talladega last year. Last year, Talladega was the second race in the round of 8 playoffs. This year, though, it is the 7th race in our 12-race season. You can see right there Panzarella currently on the inside. He's right next to KB running in that 9 truck. Behind them, you can see the 32 of Bobby Dodson, and then David Owens making his way up. Behind him, Zach Engel, Steve Lewis, that is row 4, and Christopher Smurrell managed to make it through the insanity, and Tommy Fox in the 57 is going to round off that 5th row. Both Smurrell and Fox up 21 positions to find themselves in that top 10. I like that 57. That looks like a Bobby Allison shout-out paint job right there.
I like that too. Keep your eye on the alliances now as well, guys. The leader, Case of Beer, with line selection. The top line has been dominant today. Choosing the bottom there to stick with a DDI teammate. You're going to start to see more of that, whether it be trying to be with a teammate or trying to separate teammates, right? You're thinking, like, if I give Scotty this lane, does that give him a teammate? I'm not going to do that. The Case of Beer right here, as we saw in the last restart as well, where you got the round of 3 DDI cars, this one, want to make sure he has one behind him.
Alrighty, so pace car is off. We are rolling into the fake restart zone. Before we hit the real one, the control truck is Jonathan Case of Beer. He's in that number 8 black truck on the inside. Scotty Estep on the outside. That guy's been up front all day. You know, he would like to take this thing away. And away we go. Good push by Panzarella into the back here. But you can see on that outside, Scotty Estep is going to try to keep it side by side. KB, Kevin Brower, trying to give a hard push. Kind of goes a little bit higher than he would like. We're 3 wide. Scotty Estep is SOL. And that means straight out of Las Vegas as he now fades back in the middle. Tommy Fox back there in the middle, too far back to pick him up. Inside lane, though, is where we got our eyes, and that is Case of Beer, followed by Panzarella. You can see the Pabst Blue Ribbon truck of Bobby Dodson behind them. Outside lane, Kevin Brower. In contact by Dodson into KB, but hey, KB wiggles. He is okay. Keeps it moving forward. David Owens and Steve Lewis push on the outside. Scotty Estep still in the middle, trying to make it work, but he's a few truck lengths back. It's the inside-outside battle right now as we're looking at KB side by side with Jonathan Case of Beer.
The one thing that I've noticed is that outside lane keeps getting kind of shut out. Everyone's trying to find a lane right now, it looks like. the middle
Look
lane.
at Owens. That is a Keselowski push.
The super aggressive, and that's how they're able to keep up on that middle lane there on the outside. But they only had 3 trucks at that time.
Wow, Estep so fast, he is deciding to not fall in line behind Lewis. He is going to make that outside lane work by himself. What an insane piece of driving by Scotty Estep, and it is not going to pay off as he slowly fades away. Middle lane looks like it is faster, but then that inside lane, little more organized, manages to pull ahead. Owens, and down. KB Wiggles again, making call, and it's a big one. Estep involved. The 57 of Fox is involved. Hillman is involved. Oh, that was a big one. We'll just have to see what the final tally of trucks is. Oh, and Hillman still don't do it.
Front and at least it's a safer barrier. Maybe it just kind of bounced off. But that looked like a result of another. The truck, if you don't hit them square, it'll.
Well, we do have a little bit of audio from Hillman's truck here. Let's see what he's. Yep. So looks like he had some colorful things to say about that incident. Alex Hillman bringing it in to get his truck looked out. Tough circumstance right there for the 08 as he just found himself victimized by the shenanigans of other people. Jonathan K. Sabir is going to stay your leader, and KB, who Wiggles, still showing in second place. At this stage of the game, Bobby Dodson, great speedway racer up there. Panzarella said he's not that fast, but yet finds himself in fourth. Christopher Smurrell, David Owens. Looking at all of those names, Zach Engel, Steve Lewis, I'm kind of eyeballing Kevin Brower at this point. That guy, Kevin Brower, he's wiggled, he's made contact with people, he's driven up underneath people, but for some reason, he just keeps that number 9 Dubby Chevrolet moving forward. I think KB might be one of the guys we should eyeball towards the end of this race, buddy.
Yeah, I think Kevin Brower. Another person that I'm looking at that's up here is our own Zach Panzarella. Bryson Dodson.
Yeah, Bobby's
Zach Engel. Yeah. A lot of these can't rule Owens out either. A lot of these guys are really, really strong at super speedways. Case of beer, like I was talking about earlier. It's really anyone's race. A lot of times these super speedways are kind of random with the way the outcomes come, depending on where the wreck is, when the wreck is, who can dodge the wreck. So it really is. A lot of people don't like these super speedways because of the randomness of it.
But it opens it up for some folks. That you might not be talking about. We've like a Zach Engel. We've seen him running up at the front here today, but that's not usually a guy we're going to talk about at an intermediate-sized track. Steve Lewis, he's had a couple of rough runs, and now suddenly we've seen him up front. He led a lap as well. You only got to lead one lap. We saw a Case of Beer do it last year. And so these are some of the guys. That's why I'm wondering about Brower. I haven't seen Brower lead, but all he's got to do is be that front truck when they come around that start-finish line on lap number 80, or lap number 70. 33 drivers started this race. We've seen a few of them fall to the side, and we've seen others victimized, like Matt Novella. Didn't even get to talk about Novella much here today, but he finds himself a victim as well as he is inside the pits looking at his pit crew. No work looks like it's being done, so it must just be prayers going on, thoughts and prayers working on the body of the 56 of Matt Novella.
It looks like we got 5 trucks out. Oh, Novella's coming back out. Maybe he was just getting damage fixed. But it looks like we got 5 trucks maybe looking like they're 4 trucks.
Now that 9 at Brower, guys, I can tell you right now, the pushes, he is some of the best pushes in this race are coming from that 9 car. He is doing such a great job of timing everything the way that makes it comfortable if you're in front of him, but also making sure he can give you strong enough pushes to keep you to the front. I think that's why you're seeing that 9 car, first of all, so clean. He's gotten, like you said, a little wobbly a few times, but he has been there when you needed him, and because of that, he's really been in the top 5 for the majority of this race in front of most of these disgusting wrecks. So I think all the praise you've given to that 9 car and you having your eye on him is a good call. That thing has been strong from start to finish today, and those pushes have really made him a lot of friends today.
Well, we're going to have to see. One thing we haven't seen him do, though, is actually lead. He has managed to push some people to the front, but how will he respond to being pushed? And we're about to find that out as Kevin Brower finds himself the lead truck on the inside row. Panzarella pushing on the outside, so Bobby Dodson, this guy has no fear in that PBR 32. He will push Brower about as hard as you can. So we'll see if Brower can take it as good as he has been giving it as we are about to go green. 10 laps to go here on our inaugural broadcast for Season 5 of Thursday Thriller Truck Series here live on the MRL Network.
One thing I'm going to watch right here is the case of beer and Panzarella on the outside to see how aggressive they can be to overcome that inside lane.
Now, they're tight up there. You can see Angle, the 47, third truck back, really tight with them as well. He's going to do his best. And then next to them, you can see Smurrell as well. So veteran pushers all should really get a great jump. Here we go into the Geico restart zone. Keep an eye on Case of Beer on the outside. He is the control truck. He is almost up against the wall. Great start. So good, in fact, he's going to bring Panzarella with him. Panzarella side by side with the 9 of Brower. Brower finally gets that inside lane working. Great speed off that push of Bobby Dodson. Inside lane, Brower, Dodson, Owen, Steve Lewis pushing. 5 trucks deep, outside lane, got to get it together. 4 trucks breakaway on that outside, and then they're lacking help. Inside lane seems to be putting it together just a little bit better. But once that 5th truck catches up on the outside, we're going to see a freight train come through. Great run coming out of 4 as we see Kevin Brower doing a great job in the lead, but he's got Bobby Dodson right up his tailpipe coming into the last turn before he passes that start-finish line, and it will be Brower taking a lap into his book.
The one thing that I liked seeing was it looked like Panzarella and Brower both were kind of, see how they're dipping down to the inside, trying to side draft that inside lane. That's going to do 2 things. That's going to help their momentum on the outside since they really only have 2 trucks right there, but it's also going to suck back that inside lane. So there's a combination of things that's going on right there to keep the line even. Oh my goodness.
No. And no sooner are we giving praise to somebody than all of a sudden they are in the wall. They took a little too hard.
That looked like someone drifted up from the inside.
That was absolutely painful. Joe, any way you can give us a replay on that one to see what happened? Case of Beer.
Oh yeah, that's one I'd love to see a replay of that one.
That was definitely textbook. The outside lane doing exactly what they needed to do on the corners. They're side drafting. Whenever you come to the straight, you're coming off of that inside lane because that's just going to hurt you. And then it looked like they were doing what they needed to do, and the inside lane just came up and started to turn someone.
Yeah, you called your shot right there, buddy. You really did. Looks like
There we go.
Scott, keep your eye on that 11 car, I believe it is here. Not sure. I could be wrong here. Let's keep our eye here.
Well, you can see right there the impatience of Cowgill. He starts to go up high. He finally wisely brings it back down, forcing the 27 to let off. Owens starts to fade up. Dodson and Owens very close to each other.
Keep right on that 11 here, Manchin.
Owens comes up and just the two of us, and just the two of us turns into just the 11 of us.
Wow. Oh, wow, that was closer than I thought.
Look at him popping a wheelie. He must have been jealous of all the coverage that Priest got. Oh, look at that.
I think those wrecks in the back was just caused from checkups, which is a good thing because you want to have checkups.
Or lack of, right?
Look at Case here. Oh, he's turned into a steak.
A couple people check up and a couple people don't, and then you end up with the car spinning coming into it.
There's Alex just doing his thing. Oh, he got his thoughts, but yeah, Buddy called it right there with the side drafting and how important that does become late in these races. But that was greedy.
Well, you can't really hold it against a driver with so few laps. David Owens trying to make it work. Sometimes to your competitors, it might not look like the hole is there, but it absolutely is. David Owens trying to shoot that gap, went up a little bit high. Who knows, maybe that side drafting threw his arrow off just a little bit and pulled him up into that outside lane, making him have contact with Jonathan K. Sabir. 7 laps to go. Brower is going to lose his drafting partner as now Bobby Dodson is going to be next to him on the front row. That is going to make the pushers now the Panzarella and Owens. And if you're one of those front row cars, you got to wonder, does David Owens have another slick trick in his checkbook that he's ready to cut a check to you that just might bounce and send you into the outside wall? The lucky dog making their way around, trying to get back on the lead lap. This is a long track. It takes a while to get around. Lots of victims now, as we can see up on that ticker. But
the one thing that you were talking about Owens being a pusher. Owens is an extremely aggressive pusher, and you need some practice with him in order to be able to know what to expect whenever it comes to him pushing you. He's an extreme fan of pushing in the corners. A lot of people don't like that. If they don't know what to expect with Owens pushing them, that can be something that they're inexperienced at and can cause an accident.
So do you think it's to actually influence Brower with his lane choice? Panzarella will be on the apron. Owens is going to be outside. If you're Kevin Brower, are you ready for that push and you take Owens to be your pusher, or do you avoid him, afraid of a little bit too hard of a push that could spin you around? Brower and Owens, they've raced a lot together. That knowledge could either make Brower think that guy could push me to victory lane, or it could also conversely make him think that dude will wreck me. I better take Panzarella.
It takes it's another one of those coin flips.
You want the Russian rocket to launch you to the moon?
Right. It's one of the, I've been wrecked by, being pushed by someone that you're not used to how aggressive they are. It's so easy to wreck whenever you're the one being pushed. I don't know. I've raced with Owens a whole lot, and I'm comfortable with his pushes. But it has taken me a little bit of time to get comfortable, especially with he likes pushing in the corners. That's where you can make up time as long as you have 2 trucks, 2 cars, or whatever that's comfortable with it. Whenever you get one person that's not comfortable with it, that's usually whenever disaster happens.
Well, here comes the moment of truth. It looks like he
Brower's comfortable with him.
Gonna do it. He wants it. He wants the Russian rocket to launch him into outer space, and he thinks he's going to tame that wild bull. You got to hold on for more than 8 seconds, though. You got to hold on for 5 laps. But they are good buddies. Maybe Owens, who already has a victory in his pocket, will be kind enough to stay behind his good friend KB. Or maybe he launches him into the fence and says, I bet I can get you higher than I just got Jonathan case of beer. We'll have to find out. 5 laps to go as we prepare to go green. Lights are off the pace car. Kevin Brower, Bobby Dodson, that's your front row. Panzarella Owens, that is your second row. Patrick Cowgill made his way back up into 5th place. That is in the 3rd row. Zach Engel will not go away. He is still in 6th. That is your 3rd row. 4th row, Steve Lewis, Joe Volpis, that Captain Crunch car. Truck still threatening. And hey, Joe, where you been? He ain't front row, Joe, but he is still top 10, Joe. Behind them, you can see Kevin Sawyer in the 907 and Christopher Smurrell representing Fokum Racing. That's going to be your top 10. Lots of guys out. Kevin Kyle, Jonathan Case of Beer. Shame to see Case of Beer go out. He was so fast, buddy.
Yeah, it's too bad on that. That tells me that he likely used fast repair time, and now he just has a lot of damage left to overcome.
Yep. Nothing left to do now but get your dad to accompany you to the trailer of David Owens and put on your Daisy Dukes and get ready to throw down. So, pace car soon to be pulling off of the track as we come out of 4 trucks lining up. 5 laps to go. It is going to get wild here at Talladega. Everybody wants that win, and on a super speedway, everybody thinks they can win. So I expect no F's to be given these last few laps as we go green here at Talladega.
Yep.
Outside truck of Brower is your control cut truck. Ooh, Panzarella and Bobby Dodson with a little bit of trouble on the inside. That's going to allow Owens to slam down hard to the apron. Brower sees that move. He goes down with him as well. Zach Engel, hard charging, finds himself in 3rd place. Oh, Dodson ends up going high all alone, looking for help. Inside lane appears to be making it work right now. Outside lane, once they got momentum, though, they're going to tighten it up and be a factor. But right now, Kevin Brower bringing it into 3. Has to be excited about his prospect if he could just keep David Owens off his back. Owens getting a hard push from Engel. So now hard movers that you got to be looking at. Definitely Engel trying to throw his name in, going from 6th to 3rd on that restart.
Absolutely. They're really, really trying to. I like that move to the middle lane. Who was that? Dotson that was originally out there all by his lonesome.
And now he's got Sawyer with him.
More through this whole race, we've seen that inside or that middle lane be extremely dominant. Right trucks stacked together.
More 3-wide foolishness. Look at the 37 as he cuts up high. That's Chris Smith now trying to make a 3rd lane work again, but he's on his 7 trucks back.
They need more trucks up there on that top lane, or they need someone from the middle to jump up to the top. That'll suck back that lane and even out top middle. And then, hopefully that would pull people to that. I don't know. I think people right now, you're 2 laps to go. Someone's got to make a move though. Like you can't go anywhere in a traffic jam.
I think his best bet right now, if you look to the 3rd truck back on that inside lane, perhaps you could see Lewis try to go up or Volpis. Those 2 guys, if they would make that move, perhaps then the 37 of Smith would have some place to go. But other than that, he's just stuck in side draft hell, going straight backwards.
looks like they even got pushed into the wall on that outside lane.
2 to go. Look at that inside lane. Panzarella up under Angle. Angle keeps going.
Oh, wide.
Look at Lewis bring it down. They're wrecking in the back.
Someone took the wall head on. And
final lap, and Slayer wrecking. Oh, and it is just pandemonium. Smith upside down. Kevin Brower now making a move. Owens goes to the outside. That's going to give Zach Angle the second position on the inside. Angle smashes into Kevin Brower. Brower spinning the 12 of Panzarella upside down. David Brenner takes a bite out of him. Owens, that's that backwards yellow. Owens, Scotty Estep makes contact. I'm running out of breath here. Here we coming around. It's Angle. And Bobby Dodson making a move. Bobby comes down in front of Angle. Angle trying to find the angle, pun intended, but it's going to be Bobby Dodson. Dodson with the win. Zach Angle is going to take second. Christopher Smurrell third. That is your top three. How about Joe Amato for Stephen Neal 5. Great racing, all that wrecking at the end. But I'll tell you what, Bobby Dodson, he pushed hard all night. He is a speedway racer. He works with Case of Beer. At this point, he would be not denied. Nothing could stop Bobby Dodson from finding his way into victory lane. Hold on, what? Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting an announcement right now. MRL officials are informing me that Bobby Dodson is not the winner. Bobby Dodson has gotten too many incident points and will not be awarded the victory, and that means the 47 of Zach Angle is gonna get the win. What a ride from the Oshkosh, Wisconsin driver. Oh, he has got to be thrilled. Zach Angle gonna pick up his first win of season 5, and he's gonna do it right here at Talladega. What drama at the end. I mean, did you see that coming?
No, I didn't. With the way the iRacing handles incident points and stuff, there's so many different ways to rack them up, and with the limits the different leagues put on the incident points, it's really just comes down to the very end.
I am just speechless after seeing what just occurred. That is amazing. Those incidents ended up costing him. Bobby Dodson is going to finish in 8th place after all of that is said and done. Zach Angle going to be your winner. He's going to punch his ticket into the Willy Wonka golden ticket into the championship. Christopher Smurrell being shown in 2nd. Joe Amato 3rd. Stephen Neal, great run for him. And Dalton Geyer, I thought that guy got destroyed at the beginning, buddy. And yet he's going to be your 5th place finisher.
Vulpus, dude, Geyer's on board for the last lap if you can. It is unbelievable.
The benefit to a fast repair is as long as you use them strategically and have a little bit of luck on your side, it's definitely possible to come back from a absolute disaster of an incident at the beginning of a race.
Well, he definitely is the model of perseverance after seeing how his race began and how it ended up finishing. Dalton Geyer, driver of the 36 Chevrolet, has got to be thrilled to turn a tragedy of a day into a majestic finish. Other drivers of note that we see out there, Jeff Pfeiffer up 23 spots. Looks like he brought his home in 14th position. Also, one of the drivers, I believe, getting a few of the penalties. Wow, lots of penalties being handed out today. 3, 4, 11 drivers receiving penalties. So that is going to be a lot of math for MRL officials to determine. All right, so that being said, we are going to get an updated standings for MRL as well. Oh, here we go. We're back.
All the way back, Joe. Go to the start finish line. You guys will not believe what Dalton saw. Here we go.
You want to do the in car or just?
Oh, you got to go in car. You got to go in car if we can, because it's just, guys, it's nonsense. This last lap probably had 4 or 5 wrecks in it, and all of them were big ones. Yeah, and Dalton's going to end up with the 5th place here. Where is he now? He's probably somewhere in 25th. Yeah, he is. Look at that. Look where Dalton is, guys. This guy is going to finish in 5th place.
This is one of those things where as long as you can dodge whatever's happening in front of you,
yep.
you don't ever want to give up.
All right, let's keep an eye on that RPM gauge too. That's always fun to watch.
Hold on tight and put your hands up, boys. So this is the first one.
He's burying it though. Look at him. He's not letting off. He is not going to let off. He gets through the first one.
There's the white flag.
There goes
the second one. Somebody.
He lets off a little bit, but not a lot. Keeps it going.
Car's flipping on the outside of him.
He's like, okay, maybe you won't wreck, Scotty. I'm going to follow you.
Okay, ready for some comedy as well, guys.
Oh boy. Look at the RPM gauge.
Watch our poor Scotty here. Our poor Scotty. Keep your eye on Scotty. Hi, Scotty.
Wow.
Keep your eye on Fox here on the bottom. Bye, Tommy.
Unbelievable.
And now watch this.
Oh, and he passes our hero, Steve Lewis. Oh, he shoots by.
And that's a top 5.
God bless.
It is such a coin flip on the exact moment of a decision that you have, whether to go low or high, and that will make or break your last lap. Whenever it comes to stuff like this.
It didn't disappoint.
You know why he got 5th? Because I could see the rubber on his windshield. He didn't get the tear.
I was thinking the same thing, AJ. I'm so funny you just said that, because I was looking at that windshield and I was like, that thing's disgusting. Maybe that
he didn't take the tear off. He
must
kept
have been
that second.
That extra second.
Gain that extra second.
Wow, what an amazing finish. Lots of crashes. The fans are happy, drivers not so much. It will be interesting, especially at a Chicago street course coming on the schedule next week, to see how that affects people. 33 drivers participating today. Really curious to see how many of them will not come back or will come back with a Gilbert Arenas handbag at their side, if you know what I mean.
Maybe that's what Owens was practicing earlier with his chicane work.
We're not going to Washington, boys. We're going to Chicago. It's not Arenas' stomping ground.
You better be loaded or you're going to be in trouble. Other interesting finishes. Lap down, Kevin Sawyer, that tied car we were keeping an eye on. Good run from him. Kyle Lynott ends up being the second car lap down, 17th. Tommy Fox, he got smashed, but he still finished strong. Scotty Estep, that one hurts. That guy was up front all day, dropping down to 21. Tom Lester. Gary Moore, that's Mr. to you, finishes 23. KB and Zach Panzarella, those guys up front got destroyed at the end. Joe Volpus, another victim of some shenanigans. Dave Kirkpatrick, Matt Novella, all a lap down. Wow.
Those are penalties you're seeing, me and Gene. When you get that 17X, that penalty on the last lap, that's a lap down.
I don't like the 17X. I like the triple X, but other than that, I like to keep my X's off of my car.
One of the other things that we can look at with this is with the way the results come, this is where super speedway stuff is needed because it kind of normalizes stuff like Zach was talking about earlier, where instead of being a technical track where you have one guy run away with it, it can flip the points so much whenever it comes to super speedway racing because of the randomness of it.
It's true. And if we look at standings, Joe, do you have the updated standings following the Talladega amazingness? There it is. You can see now Dalton Geyer is going to take over the points lead. He jumps up 2 spots, dropping Panzarella down 1. Owens jumps up a spot into 3rd. Jonathan K. Sabir, behind today's painful finish, drops down to 4th. 5th place, Zach Engel. He jumped up 3 spots, and more importantly, with that dub, finds his way into the championship. Joe Volpus going to drop down. Kyle Lynott remains steady. Novella drops down 2, but his strong year continues. David Brenner, that is a guy in and out every time series I've seen him in. I think that guy is in the playoffs. Really a comeback year. Brenner, a little bit rough last year, so good to see him finding his way back into that top 10. Steve Fugit flying like a bald eagle around the track. Hopefully he can get his hot rod working next week at Chicago, but he's still in 10th. 11th, AJ Benesh, and our hero Steve Lewis is going to jump up 2 spots to take over the 12th position. And Lewis has a nice 7-point gap between him and the 13th position of Tommy Fox. So looking over at those points, buddy, it looks like the top 15 right now are consistent with making it to the next round. After that drop, you can see Estep and Smurrell. They got some work to do to close that 20-plus point gap.
Yeah, going into or next week is the Chicago Street Course, correct?
Ugly,
yes.
Ugly. Who's a street champion? Is there a STD out there that we know about?
So
I don't know. I've never ran that track before on any car, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next week to how it flips these points around.
Well, I don't know of too many drivers that are just masters of the road course. I think Novella and Vulpes have both shown some really good abilities on road courses, but the street course just a little bit different. If you go off the track, it's not the grass you're dealing with. You know, it's apartment 222, and those residents will not be appreciative as you smash into their brick wall. And you can ask my friend Zach Clausen, nobody likes it when you hit their house.
I think we might have a special guest here in the broadcast booth if you want to talk to him.
Oh, my word. What do we got? Who is it?
It's Mr. Dotson.
Bobby, is that you?
I'm here.
Bobby, what in the world? You had that thing? I was already celebrating your accolades. I was screaming it from the roof. I was already on the phone with the president, and the next thing I know, these guys in tuxedos come in and give me some broke news. I mean, is it a conspiracy? Talk to me, man.
I would have won in real life.
You did win. I watched it. I
was first over the line.
I watched it. So what is the deal? Like, break it down. Like, give me your unbiased opinion of the interpretation of the rules and how that could lead to the 32 having that victory stripped away.
I don't know. It just fucked me.
Just
I was in a lot of wrecks early. I never got a lot of damage, but hey.
Well, today's race kind of reminds me. Austin Merrow is a friend of mine that I watch race on Monday nights, and that guy also has been victimized by incident points beyond his control. I don't know if you saw the Monday night race 2 weeks ago. The guy was in the lead on a caution lap, and a car just came up and T-boned him, giving him incident points, which later led to his disqualification. So it is unfortunate. I wish there was a way that they could mitigate the points especially on incidents of which we don't have anything to do with. Those 0Xs become 4Xs before you know it, and then they strip away a victory. But Bobby, I was there, man. We need to get T-shirts. I was there when Bobby won.
I passed him on the outside and everything. I was like, yeah.
It was clean. Everybody else wrecked. Unfortunately, interpretation of MRL rules lead to that being stripped from you here today. But that does not mean the days of Bobby Dodson are over. I am looking here at the points, and you still got some work to do. We're going to need to see.
Yeah, I don't know if I can make it. What's the limit on missing races in the truck?
Joe, you got that?
So the threshold to make the chase is you need to start 8 out of 12 of the races.
I can't make it. It was just for fun, but I won, I guess you could say, in my opinion. But
I'll tell you what, come back next week. Come back next week. It's Chicago.
I just bought it. You just
bought it? Oh, yes. Hey, I will tell you this from personal experience. When you come out of the pits, that first time, those tires suck. Give yourself some extra brake room.
God, I'm scared.
You're going to T-bone that wall.
I also just turned 21.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. You'll have yourself a celebratory beverage, my friend. Happy birthday.
We will tomorrow night.
I bet you will. Anybody you want to say hi to before we let you go, Bobby?
Hell yeah, everybody in the booth. Everybody I raced with. Case Spear, David, even though I wrecked him, but he was right there pushing me.
Hey, I've wrecked David Owens too. He takes it really well.
I have to.
All right, Bobby. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us, my friend.
Right,
I was there. Make the T-shirt. I'll order one. I was there when Bobby won.
I don't know how to make them, but somebody.
You know who you need to call is Animal House Customs. Those guys know how.
Animal House Customs. All
right. Thanks, Bobby.
See ya.
Oh, Lord of mercy. That was the 32 of Bobby Dodson. Oh, I saw him win. I was there when Bobby won. That's a good shirt, Zach. You think we could get Mandel and the boys over there to make one of those?
I think Zach had to split.
Oh.
So he dropped out of the thing here.
Oh, well.
But I bet we could get them to make a shirt over there for it.
Yeah, look at that overhead right there. That is a nice camera angle. That is the Farmers Only blimp. You don't have to be lonely with Farmers Only. Shout out to our production brother, Kevin Kyle, from the Farmers Only.
Kevin Kyle.
blimp.
Yep.
All right, well.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're about to wrap it up. You got any final thoughts for us?
It produced exactly what I expected at the beginning. A bunch of 2-wide racing, a bunch of 3-wide racing, especially at the end stages, end of the race. It was definitely excitement filled with a little bit of controversy with the incident point deal. It definitely didn't underperform, which is what you expect from Talladega.
Well, I feel blessed that we got such a big field. We did get some green flag racing. It got tighter and tighter. Those cautions really started to appear there at the end. But hey, that's kind of what you expect here at Talladega. At the end, we got controversy, which always makes the broadcast fun. And we got a lovely interview out of Bobby Dodson. All in all, I would say I really enjoyed this inaugural broadcast for our Thursday Thunder Thriller Truck Series, and I can't wait to see what happens next week at Chicago. Joe, before we let you go, let's bring in Joe, the producer. You got any final thoughts, shout-outs, anything you want to say before we turn it on?
All right, I'm gonna lay it out here for you. So here's a preview for next week. Here's your preview for next week. So across BRL and MRL, there's been 2 races at Chicago Street Course in the past 2 seasons. Last season, Bonfire Cup went to Chicago Street Course. Kevin Kyle was the one to prevail. He's somebody that runs with us in the series. Joe Volpus decided that he didn't want to pit properly and did some Austin Powers stuff on pit road and threw away a bunch of time. David Owens ended up finishing second in that race. And we went there in the MRL Xfinity Series earlier in the season, as you alluded to earlier, where the 11 car ended up flipping and ended up actually finishing 4th in that race, second best out of anybody that drives in the Truck Series full time, second best to Matt Novella, who finished 3rd in that race and was the best driver out of the series that's in this series full time. So some early favorites going into next week, as well as Zach Panzarella, who won the road course race last year at Watkins Glen.
So you're saying keep an eye on Novella, Owens, Vulpes, Kyle, and Panzarella. Those are your 5 highlight drivers?
That's my top 5 right there for you.
I think that's a good pick. We'll have to see if there's any other ringers hiding in there.
Do I need to sign up?
Hey, I'll tell you what, if that shoulder can handle it, it'd be a good time to watch.
No, I don't want anything to do with the road course inside for my shoulders healed. That was horrible as a Daytona roll.
Yep, I can understand. Well, let's get that surgery done. For those of you who don't know, Buddy has a surgery scheduled soon. Get that shoulder repaired, get him back on the track, and start ruining the days of every Canadian racer he can find. That's going to wrap things up here from Talladega. Another amazing race. Thank you to the drivers at home. For you, the viewers at home right now, go ahead and take this opportunity to hit like, hit subscribe. We will be broadcasting here on the MRL network for the rest of the season. And then, again, check us out as well on the Vortex Racing Network. That will be shown Sunday as they do a side-by-side with the race from Atlanta. No actual Cup race will be shown, but they will have the MRL screen up, MRN screen up, so you can see what position the drivers are in. Thank you for joining us tonight. As always, it has been a pleasure. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, Zach Panzarella, Buddy Sully, Joe Vulpes, Chantilly Lace, John Beverly, DDI, KK Woodscapes, to all the fellas in the Production Truck Boys, it has been a pleasure, and we can't wait to see you again next week at Chicago. As always, true believers, bottoms up and hammer down.